Hey everyone, welcome. I wanted to share about really the twin flame dynamic. I think that there's so much interest in this, but there's a lot of misinformation having to do with the twin flame experience. So I'm hoping that maybe through the clarification that I received, that others can find some clarity and maybe some peace in their journey with that as well. So what I had seen in a dream was how it was very interesting. So it was a lot of symbology from what I take it, but there was a tree, this massive, beautiful tree. It was like the tree of life. And this storm came and it struck the tree with lightning, and the tree fell apart. Like it split in half, one going to the right, one going to the left. And as the tree fell, the earth that was underneath it started dying. It turned barren. It looked almost like Mars, like how that's like kind of like a red, like brownish red. It just looked dead. And this huge tree that almost enveloped the entire planet, like wrapped, as it fell, it like wrapped itself around the earth, around the planet. And as it did that, like as it was enveloping the planet, it was not fruitful. It was dark. It was black. It was really, it was honestly very like sad looking. It was just, it looked dead also. And as it was wrapping around the planet, it was trying to like find its wholeness again. Like it was seeking and looking, but it couldn't find it until finally when it did. And as the two sides of the tree grew enough so that they would be able to touch and reach each other, they didn't recognize each other. Each side saw the other almost like an enemy, and it warred against itself. This went on for quite a while until from the center of that tree where it split, this huge, it almost looked like a cyclone of fire, like burst out of the earth and came up into the sky, and it kind of rained down fire onto the whole like tree base and everything around it. And as it was doing this, it was like purifying. And once it purified, the earth actually started waking back up. It started turning green and blue again, and it started waking up. And this started feeding that tree so that it could start kind of healing. And what ended up happening is a new tree formed at the base where this tree had split open, and where that cyclone kind of fire, I don't know what you would call that, came from that center. Like a small new tree formed in that space. And what had originally been the first tree now became that tree's root system. And it was a very interesting way to see this. I actually interpreted that into a poem because of the energy that was in it and the energy that was associated with it. It was definitely a very powerful expression, because what it was representing was how at one time the masculine and feminine energy were whole. They were one. And then they were split apart. And through that separation, they did not understand each other, and they really warred against each other, not understanding that the other one, all they could see from the other one really was like, I feel like there's something I need from you, but I don't know what it is, and since I'm not getting it, I'm going to hate you. That's almost like the energy that was coming from that. So the poem that I wrote, I mean, I don't know if you would consider it a poem or however you want to interpret it, but it goes, and I'll put this in the description as well if anyone wants to have it. I had a dream last night about you and me. We were a large, beautiful tree, a tree of life, the tree of life. We were massive, strong, and so intertwined in each other's energies that you could not tell one from the other. We were once the same, and it was just us. Do you remember? Then the lightning struck, and we were torn apart, both halves of the tree falling away from each other, turning black and unyielding of the fruit we were designed to make. You going left, and me going right. We crashed onto the broken earth like a cannon blast. Or was it my heart breaking? Our heart breaking? Did you hear it too? We searched for one another, looking, seeking, growing our branches as they stretched across the barren wasteland. Finally, we found each other, but we didn't recognize the other. Our branches simply grew and raged against each other. We were fighting each other. Could you feel it? The pain was unbearable. You tried to swallow me up and overtake me. You tried to destroy me. This destroyed us both, for your war on me was a war on you, as we were the same. Finally, the fire came. It shot from the earth at the space where we were torn apart. It healed us. It raged a tower-like inferno that rained down its purification and cleansing. The earth began to wake up, turning green and blue with life, breathing remembrance into our branches. Don't I know you? Finally, from this flame was born a new tree, a small tree, but a strong tree, and we became its roots, its heritage, its lineage, its memories. We became a new tree. Finally, we found each other again. We are now returned to our true nature. Why can't you remember? Wake up, beloved. There is much work to do. The roots are whispering to me. Hear, listen, remember. I'm tired of fighting. I don't know what more to do, so I'm just going to love you. So that was the energy, and I'm sorry I keep clearing my throat. Allergies are really bad where I am. So that was the energy of that vision. It was definitely about the separation and how the two, divine masculine and divine feminine, warred against each other. There just was no remembrance. There was just pain, and this really kind of clarified a lot of things with like the patriarchal energy, where it started out with so much. I mean, it's still going on, but it started with like the patriarchy wanting to just take the woman, and then it turned more into an oppression of women, and that energy is still existent now in today's times. It is lessening, and it has been since this happened, really. But what's really at the bottom of that is that there was this deep pain. It was very unconscious. It wasn't understood. All the masculine energy could see from the feminine was that there's something that I need from you, and I'm not getting it, because what has happened with the energy when that split happened, no one remembered. It was like there was no memory of what the origination had been. So everyone had to start fresh without any memories of being whole. All they could feel was not feeling whole, and understanding and realizing that the other counterpart, the masculine or the feminine energy, was what they needed. That is so base. It was so very three-dimensional, on a three-dimensional level, where it's like, I know I need something from you, but I don't understand what it is. And so this is the energy that has still been surrounding the twin flame journey, where those of us that are twin flames, it's like you recognize and know, there's another part of me. And as we continue to seek that part outside of ourselves and trying to really go through this journey and say, who is my twin flame? Is it this person? Is it that person? Could it be them? Could it be that? What's happening with that is that's still in the energy of that separation. It's creating that war against the other still, because this is what causes the runner chaser. This is what causes so much drama in the journey, is because there's still this war that's going on. That's like, I recognize that there's something, but I'm needing it from you. And really the message is that in order to find that wholeness, is that we have to take that energy and focus it into and on ourselves, so that we find our wholeness, so that we're finding our purpose, so that we're finding where we're supposed to be. And then as we're doing that, as we're doing our own healing, as we're finding our own purpose, as we're finding, our own completion in ourself, that's what puts us into alignment with finding that other physical counterpart. So it's like, so often we've kind of gotten this romanticized feeling of oh, once I find my twin, everything is going to feel better. And the reality of that is, once I feel better, and once I feel whole, and once I feel on my path, once I feel that I've gotten things kind of in a space where I'm at peace and in full acceptance of where I am and my journey and what's going on with all of that, that is when I will actually become in physical union with my twin. So this whole dynamic of runner chaser and the frustrations around, the drama and the heartache, and this person's I know that they're my twin, but there was someone else. And, that's what's going to stop all those karmic relationships from needing to happen. That's what's going to stop, the running and the chasing. Because in reality, when the twin is our mirror, if someone's running from us, we're really running from ourselves. And what that's representing is that we're running from our purpose. We're running from our calling. So we have to stay focused really on what we're supposed to do. I had seen this awesome meme that was these two beings made out of earth, really. And it said, don't commit to me, commit to your evolution, and I'll meet you there. That was completely the essence and energy of what this message is, where it's saying I'm not even going to worry about what you're doing, because we're the same. And so whatever you're doing to work on yourself is going to benefit me and our connection, and whatever I'm doing to better myself is going to benefit me and our connection. So I'm going to come from a position of understanding that I can't be separated from myself, because I am myself. So that's where that idea of there's no such thing as separation, because that's really the reality of the situation. So when we're in that energy of, oh, I'm separated from this person, or I need this person to feel whole, that's what the universe is going to continue to show us, is going to continue to give us in that experience, because that's what we're believing. So when we come from this space of saying, you know what, I'm good. Like I'm whole in myself. I know what my purpose is. I'm going to focus on my journey and what I'm doing. I'm going to focus on my evolution. And as I'm doing that, the vibration that I'm putting out is what's going to align everything to come into the union that is going to be right. Because, it's interesting, if we're honest with each other, a lot of times when we see a twin flame, they're not really where we want them to be. Like, if we're going to come into union with them, they're still working through a lot of stuff. So it's like, why play into that drama? That's their work to do in the journey. So staying in a place of alignment and peace by being able to do your own work, that's really going to help alleviate a lot of that discomfort. So I hope that this was helpful. Feel free to leave any questions or comments, and I will talk to you guys soon.